Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of Do Epic Shit. Sean here, back in Chiang Mai. And I wanted to share with you some thoughts from my man, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'll post it up in the regular way since I'm filming Bacchanals. There are so many things that he refers to as far as understanding how we must manifest whatever our intentions are and to achieve wherever we want to be. I love this guy because I first heard about him maybe 15 years ago on PBS, maybe 25 years ago on PBS in the 80s, late 80s, 90s. I don't think this book was out yet, but he was talking about another form of living without trying so hard, sort of just tapping into the source, whatever your source is. If you believe in Buddhism, if you believe in a positive, negative, yin and yang force pull, Jesus Christ and God, Muhammad and all the others, whomever you believe in, whatever you understand that we are just energy and we were brought here, we were intended to be here. One thing I love that one of his mantras is that we all belong. Doesn't matter how much we think some people may not belong here, or sometimes we feel like we don't belong. We were meant to be here. We are supposed to be here, so make the best of it. And just like with Viktor Frankl's book about living a life of purpose, without meaning, I just randomly opened up to chapter 6 of Dr. Dyer's book, where it says intention and infinity. And a quote from Joseph Campbell. You might know Joseph Campbell. He wrote the fantabulous book called The Faces of, the Thousand Faces of. It's basically a book that analyzes and talks about the myths all over the world and how they're very similar. The Thousand Faces of Death? No, not quite. No. The Man with the Thousand Faces. I think that's what it was called. Or that was a character. That was Arya's character in Game of Thrones. I can't remember. Anyway, intention and infinity. Quote, eternity is not the hereafter. This is it. If you don't get it here, you won't get it anywhere. Joseph Campbell said that. So I'm stressing sometimes, and he has a whole chapter about stress and how it's just negative thoughts of kind of overthinking and worrying about stuff that may be an issue, but putting that negative energy into that only fuels that. So most books and most speakers that talk about manifestation, it's all the same. Whatever you put out, you get back. And it's very much like Buddhism and karma and other belief systems that say whatever you put out, you get back. So you get gifted life and joy and food. And one big part of this is he says there's abundance beyond belief, because everything that was created by the source, whatever that source is for you, but the source is what created everything. And so if that's true, which it is, then there's enough for everything and everybody if we tap into our intentional path of the source. So when you think about it, a tree does not need anything. It doesn't wish for anything. It doesn't have a desire for anything. It doesn't do anything but take what nature, the source, has given her, and she grows. So if we take that same philosophy in mind, he writes, like other writers have said, a squirrel does not think about their needs. They just instinctively go and get that nut that they need. And then they have learned through, either it's in their DNA from their passed down from their ancestors, or it's just what the source has given them. They know about hibernation. They know about storing food for the 3 to 5 months that they won't be able to get that nut. So if animals and trees that don't have this higher level of thinking, if they don't think about where their next source is coming from, where their next nut or their water or where the sun is coming from, they thrive fine. Of course, when there's a shortage of rain or too much rain or there's a shortage of sun, then of course they adapt. But it's still not, they're not wishing for anything. These flowers here, this tree here, these wonderful flowers here, they're not up late at night going, oh my goodness, are we going to get enough sun tomorrow? Oh my goodness. They don't worry. They don't stress about certain things because their intention is just to live. And they're tapped into the source because they don't have that higher level of thinking that overcomplicates things. And that's a lot Dr. Dyer talks a lot about. So of all the millions of watts here, this is one that I found a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to say 3 weeks ago now. And it's called Yang Quan. Yang Quan. It's one of my favorite. I don't know why. It's just, I was biking down here one of my last days at my first hostel, and I found this. It's called Limit Coffee down the street right here, past the 7-Eleven. And I come here as often as I can to support her local business, and because it's just a great place to relax and read and be intentional in the moment. Had it once, and then I was over here looking at other things. He moved about 20 feet. So here we are at what? Yang Quan. And I was talking about the intention and infinity. He borrows a quote from, or a poem from Rumi, the 15th century poet, one of my favorite. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. Hold on, let me see, you got it now. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. That big smile on his face, that's what it's all about. Stop! All right. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You were not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. Rumi. A big part of this book is tapping in to the source, tapping in to what our intentions are and being on the same page with them so that we can achieve peace, love, creativity, abundance, and Oh yes, and meditation. Dyer calls them the 7 faces of intention. If we tap into some of those intentions, we will be reaching more of where we want to be. We put too many obstacles in our way, too many negative thoughts. And we listen to the voices of learning how to drive, yeah? Cup. Hi, how are you?
I am fine. Fine, I know.
30? 30 baht? Oh, there you are. You are fine. Hi, little one. What's your name?
My name is Kwan.
Kwan. My name is Sean. You're Kwan. Almost the same name as this temple, yeah? This is Yang Kwan. Yang Kwan, yeah? Yeah? And your name is Kwan. Kwan? Ah, nice to meet you, Kwan. I'm Sean. See hi, Bot? Would you like to buy... What I will do is I will donate. I don't have room. I'm traveling very light. I don't have room. Oops. But I will donate, yeah? I don't need to buy. I only have a backpack. That's all I have. Bye-bye, Kwan. What is your name?
Wawa.
Wawa? Nice to meet you, Wawa. There's the book. Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. And every chapter is extraordinary. Every chapter has tons of ideas for how to be more graceful, more thankful, more giving, because that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. He is very much like the father of logotherapy, who Frankl, Viktor Frankl, Dr. Viktor Frankl, who says very similarly to Dr. Dyer, if we're working towards helping other people, then there's no way we cannot be helping ourselves. And on chapter 5, Dyer has a quote, "Your impact on others when connected to intention." This is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. "It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man or woman can sincerely try to help another without helping herself. Serve and thou shalt be served." Ralph Waldo Emerson. As you find yourself being more in harmony with the faces of intention, there are 7 of those, you're going to discover that you'll be impacting others in new ways. So once you're grateful, you have a lot of gratitude, and that you are sharing whatever you have, because whatever you have, it's a lot more than a million, perhaps a billion other people on the planet you can share with somebody. Time, conversation, cup of coffee, whatever. And love, peace. Try to get rid of the negative thoughts when someone is attacking us, or when someone is saying something negative about something or someone else. We can steer it towards something a little bit more positive, or take a different look at it. My cousin Bobby is brilliant at doing this. I very often look at things in one way, and then he constantly throws another perspective that I'd never even considered before, which is why we need to continue to have open lines of communication with people we don't understand, with people we love, with people we are just not ever gonna be that close to, but we can still love them for being here, because they're meant to be here. In thinking about intention, Robin Wall Kimmerer of Braiding Sweetgrass, an absolutely phenomenal read about culture and returning to basically farm to table in order to understand how important our diets are in healing. She writes, if you stand together and profess a thing before the community holds you accountable. This is what Robin Wall Kimmering says. My nephew Kyle just finished the book, and I'm so glad he did, because he's been very inspirational and powerful in inspiring me, just like his mom and his sister Kendra, in different kinds of books that I read and different kinds of sources that I get from all over. He's very much into the Native American and the anti-patriarchal systems, but again, none of this has to do with anyone trying to force anyone to do anything or to be anything. What Dr. Dyer is all about is basically working on the self. In his chapter on intention and family relationships, he says, we come at people in a state of wishing them whatever they desire, being thankful for their presence and their gift of life to us, for knowing them, for being here. If they come at it negatively or aggressively, then we basically say, thank you, I hear you, and I wish the best for you. But we're not in it to try to force anyone to be like us, or to change, or to grow, or do not grow, whatever. It's all about self-change. And if we're changing ourselves, and if we're focusing on helping as many people as we can, or just focusing our time and caring about other people, then the world is a better place. And we are better for it as well. Dr. Dyer goes on to say in this chapter 15 on page 251 that connectors are a special kind of people, but they're everywhere. They're special, but they're not unique. When there is an issue, when there's a problem, when there's a conflict, they tend to be thinking from the end. So very often they'll say things like, my thoughts, when harmonized with the field of intention, are God's thoughts, and this is how I choose to think. So they're not going to let obstacles in their way. You know, there's been so many things that have kept me from getting here, from losing my passport in Hawaii to having to work, you know, for pennies as a substitute teacher in Maryland for 2 months. I kept saying to myself, well, this $100 a day I'm making after taxes can help me to live in Southeast Asia for a month if I, you know, live frugally. If I remember the energy of the source from which I come from and know that there's abundance everywhere, I don't really need to worry about my tomorrow, my monies, because I will always have access to earning money. I've been bankrupt a couple of times in my life, not bankrupt, but I've been poor or without money. As my brother says, houseless. You're not homeless, you're just without a house. I've been houseless most of my life because the world is my home. But my thoughts, when harmonized with the field of intention, are God's thoughts, and this is how I choose to think. He says, you'll see if you follow them closely enough that they're exceptional at realizing the fruits of their intentions. Connector people are exceptionally generous. It's as if they want for themselves is dwarfed only by wanting it even more for other people. This is what Dr. Dyer writes. The secret to the power of intention, they'll tell you, is in thinking and acting the same as the all-providing source from which all originates. It's all providing, and I choose to be a provider too. The more I give of myself and all that flows through me, the more I see flowing back to me. This is why I want to connect myself to as many connectors as possible. This is why I want to strive to be a connector. Because again, it's as Dr. Viktor Frankl also says, in order to heal thyself, you have to look without, not within. Dr. Dyer says, look in the mirror and say, I want to be healthy. Dr. Dyer says, we manifest, so you say, I want to be healthy. But in order to do this, as he and Dr. Viktor Frankl advocate, is working with others less fortunate than yourselves. Giving of your time, your money, your energies to work with someone else less fortunate, and lo and behold, you'll find you'll get it back tenfold. It's not why we do the things we do. You don't do it to get things back. You do it because it makes you feel good. You do it because it's why we're here. Well, it's one of my reasons why I'm here. As Dr. Viktor Frankl says, our purpose changes. And in searching for your purpose, in figuring out why you're here, part of that is working with others, helping others. Again, as Dr. Dyer says, our purpose is to connect to the intention. Once we connect to our intentions and that source, which provides everything, then there's nothing we want. All our needs are taken care of. Do you think these elephants out in the wild ever wonder, like, do I have enough salt in my diet? Do I have enough bamboo to eat? The deer, the elk, the ants, none of them think about or worry about where their next meal is coming from. They don't wonder or stress about the everyday, because the source will provide. So as much as many have called me a dreamer, living out on cloud nine and whatnot, it's on them, because as Dr. Dyer says, he says, you simply can't convince connectors that their intending won't materialize, because they trust in their connection to the source energy so strongly. So while they're laughing at me saying, oh, you're a dreamer, you come to Hawaii and on New Year's Eve you're going to text your friend to say, hey, can you take me out scuba diving? Teddy, I don't expect Teddy to like pick up the phone and answer tonight on New Year's Eve, but I mean, if I'm going to be here for 12 more days, what difference does it make when I text him if he's not looking at the text, or if he doesn't remember who I am, or if he's not ready to receive me, then he'll see it when he's sober or when he's ready, and he'll either reconnect and say, hey, yes, I have a boat going out in 2 days. You want to be on it? Yes, I am a dreamer. Yes, I am someone who is going to who's going to keep imagining the very best. I'm going to actually not even just imagine, I see it, and it's going to happen. You simply can't convince connectors that what they are intending won't materialize, because they trust in their connection to the source. That energy is so strong. They'll invite you to choose which possibility you're going to identify with, and then they'll encourage you to live as if it's already occurred. So just as Mr. Sean Covey and his dad, Dr. Stephen Covey, wrote in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, you begin with the end in mind. That's habit number 2. Habit number 1 is be proactive. So being proactive is me going, hey, Teddy, do you have any boats going out? I want to do some scuba diving while I'm here in the next 2 weeks. If it materializes and if I see it's the best thing for me at the time, then it'll happen. It didn't happen that 2-week vacation in Maui that time because it would have been too ungodly expensive. I don't want to pay $200 to go out for 1 dive or 2 dives when I can be on this side of the world and pay $35 for 3 dives here in Indonesia, Thailand. Thailand's a little bit more expensive, but you get my drift. My shorts on. And with all that, those kernels of wisdom, I wish you all happiness, joy, and I'm grateful for your attention and your time, and I pray that you reach your intentions. I'm sure you will, as you gather and join with me in Do Epic Shepherd.